Welcome. Good morning. Hope you guys are having a great week so far. Welcome to day 16 of my daily journal. My name's Andrew Chau, and I'm documenting my daily journal every day until I reach a six-figure month. I'm sharing with you my lessons and learnings as a coach, as an athlete, and as a business owner. And these are some of the lessons that I learned yesterday. So I've actually started rereading this book, $100 million Offers. And if you guys haven't and you run a business, I 100% advise you to do so. It is $1. You can buy it on Amazon. You can get the hard copy. I have the hard copy just so I can use it as a point of reference. And the first time I read this was 2 years ago. I signed up for Elite CEOs, and that costed $25,000 for 4 months. It's very expensive for that coaching. And this is probably the most valuable part I got out of that program. And this book cost $1. But I don't think I would have read that book without having joined that program. So all roads need to be crossed for you to get to where you are. And there's certain stars aligned that led me to reading this book, because when I joined that program, they actually sent this book out, part of the welcome pack, which is actually really cool. I think it's a really good idea. And as I was going through it the first time, it blew my mind. It really opened my mind and my perspective on how I should be running a business, why I should be setting up at certain price points, and how to build an offer. Really, it's how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. And it's really straightforward what you get in this book. And when I read it 2 years ago, I think my mind wasn't where it needed to be yet. I wasn't as smart as I am now. Not to say that I am smart, but like when I read it the first time, you read it from your first perspective, and there was just so much that I didn't know. There was so much information to actually retain and collect. I tried to implement as much as I could. Now, 2 years on, as I'm going back to read it again, I'm just seeing it from a different perspective. I'm able to see all the holes and gaps in what I'm doing right now, all the things that I haven't, I've forgotten. And it really, it made me think, like, I think a lot of people read a lot of books, and I think it's good. I think you should read books. But how many books can people actually retell from start to finish, inside out, and reteach that book? I don't think many. I think just like consuming content on social media, watching shorts or watching YouTube, people consume this content, and as Alex Mosey calls it, it's mental masturbation. You consume the content. It feels nice to know, but you're not actually going out to implement. And learning is defined by same situation, different behavior. So if you read a book and you don't change your actions, you by definition haven't learned. And I think one of the things that I've really been good at over the last few years is just implementing, just letting go of that attachment to what I think is right, what I think I should do, what I want to do, what I'm comfortable with, what I'm used to, and just doing something different. And if you guys have been following me, you guys might see that on my Instagram bio, I've actually changed my bio many times. Now, I'm not an influencer, so it's not about having this fancy quote. It's really my branding and my marketing, and how I'm presenting myself to the market. And I've been really trying to have something that looks good, but also sounds good. And I think I've just been too fancy. Like, this book is one of the craziest books. He spent $0 on marketing, and between these and those books, I think he's sold, 5 or 6 million copies. It's ridiculous how valuable this is. And look at the book. It just literally says how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. And his second book is $100 Million Leads, which is how to get strangers to want to buy your stuff. It sounds almost elementary, but it's really straightforward and it's really simple. And I think with our offer, our one-to-one coaching offer, I think I've been too fancy with how I'm describing it. And it's confusing people. It's confusing me. I don't really know how to express or explain what it is that we do. And as Einstein says, if you can't explain something simply, you don't fully understand it. So maybe I don't fully understand what it is that we're offering in our offer. And then over the last few weeks, we've been building these lead magnets and building out the online course. And I'm starting to get a greater clarity in terms of how I'm actually helping people. Because over the last few years, we'd have these one-to-one calls with my clients, and we'll jump on and I'll solve a problem for them. And so I don't really, it'll be whatever problem that they have. And I didn't have a set structure. Well, we kind of did with our fitness stuff, but everything was kind of a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit here, a little bit there. There was nothing really concrete. There was nothing really clear. And people buy clarity. And through clarity, you have structure. And when there's structure, it's predictable. It makes sense. It's logical. And people are more likely to be able to buy something that they're clear on. And I think that clarity is something that I've needed to work on. So as of yesterday, Hang and I were brainstorming to kind of rejig what my Instagram bio is. And I think right now it's actually quite clear. I didn't want to use the same terms that other fitness coaches did because I wanted to separate myself from everyone else. But really the core fundamentals, when I think about it, it's one thing that I want to do versus one thing that I'm good at. And I think most people coming in is for the fitness stuff. And along the way, they can be introduced to how things can be different for them. But I think coming in, 90% of people on the first call, they say they want energy, they want more confidence, but really they want to lose like 15 to 20 kilos. That's really 90% of what people are after. Of course, there are some people that just want to live a healthier lifestyle, but for the most part, it's the fitness stuff that draws them in first. And then the mindset and the personal development stuff is the personal branding, the nice to have. And so I've updated my bio to build a stronger mind and body, get back your energy and focus. And then I'm going to have a link in the bio, which is a link to my story and a link to all the free course modules. So that's the direction. And as I'm thinking about that, because that's really what the offer is, right? What my bio tagline, what it is that I'm offering to the market, what I'm actually providing. I'm going through and I'm reading this book again, and it's made me realize over the last few years I've missed so many things. Had I just studied this book inside out for the last year, maybe I would have used it as a point of reference. Maybe I would have learned a little bit quicker. And so I thought that was just really interesting, just going back and relearning things. And I definitely recommend that you guys go back and reread books and go out and implement. Like, don't think, oh, is this going to work? Or, should I even do this? Maybe I'll just do one thing and not the other. Just go out and just implement everything that you read in the book. I've had so many people recommend me Atomic Habits years ago. And, I don't want to sound judgmental or anything, but I think most of the people that were offering it to me or advising or recommending it, like, they're not in a really good place. Like, they're not super successful. They're not really super happy with where they are. And I feel like if you had just implemented half of what's in that book, you would be really successful, because the same concepts that James Clear was putting in that book, he was able to coach sports teams, accomplish and win championships. And so the knowledge and tools are actually there. People have been able to be really successful with this. It's actually changed the whole online market just from this book. This Alex Hormozi guy's just come in and just made an absolute splash. And I think about things, I'm not just putting this guy on a pedestal. I'm thinking, like, why is it that I look up to this guy? Why is it that I consume his content? It's like, it's hyper valuable because he's put in the time, he's put in the work, and the way that he's creating content speaks to his avatar directly. So when Hang and I are watching his stuff, it literally just speaks to our soul, because he has great clarity on who he is speaking to, and he knows exactly what he's providing. And really, the ethos here is, look at what everyone else is doing, do the same thing, provide it for free, and then you have your high ticket. So that's what we're kind of doing with our free content. I want to be able to really make a splash, and it's a learning process. And I feel like we've made so much progress over the last 6 months. It's crazy. We're nowhere near where we need to be, but we're taking steps, the right steps that we're supposed to take, steps that I hadn't taken in years. So yeah, I thought that was just really interesting. Just going back and relearning things. And I have I had a sales mentor, we're with them for 6, 7, 8 months. And even to this day, I still go back and I watch those modules again. There's 8 video units total, and I'm still just in the first like 4 or 5 and just rewatching it again and again and again. And as I'm rewatching them, I learn more, and there's so much these golden nuggets that I didn't get the first time, and I go back and do it again and again. Like I want to be able to move on, but I feel like I just haven't learned enough. And as soon as I move on to the next one, I'm already starting to forget all the things that were in that video. And so it's something that I think I want to look back at for the rest of my life. And I think if you really want to be the best, it's about emptying that cup and thinking you're a student all over again. And just because you've read the book or you've been exposed to the information before doesn't mean that you fully learned it. Yesterday I was at the gym. I was doing Romanian deadlifts. I posted it on my story, and there was a guy that was next to me, and he was doing Romanian deadlifts as well. And he was wearing his jumper. He's a tall guy. He looks, I think he's bigger than me. He's got more muscle than me. And then when he was doing his Romanian deadlifts, I noticed, an adjustment that he could make of his form that could really improve his exercise. But I didn't say anything. I didn't want to be that guy. In my mind, I was thinking like, well, should I say something to him? Because when you're doing Romanian deadlifts, it is somewhat of a dangerous exercise if done incorrectly. Like you could injure your back. And the way that I saw that he was doing it was the bar was too far forward, and there was a gap between the bar and his leg. When you do the lift, it's supposed to slide along your leg. And I used to do it like that, and it was very hard for me to get stronger on it. But I didn't want to be that guy that just goes around giving unsolicited advice. So I kind of just kept it to myself. And I did my set. My set had a lot of weight on it. And after I did my set, he asked me like, "Hey, how did you lift so much on this?" And then that's when I gave him my advice. And we had a great conversation. He said he also recognized me in terms of creating content. He's like, "Oh, do you make like TikToks and reels and stuff?" I'm like, "Yeah, kind of here and there." And like later on, he takes off his jumper. Like this dude's bigger than me, right? But this guy was humble, and he was like a really nice dude. He just wanted to learn, and he said that he recently lost his job, and he would like to one day be a coach as well. And he has a coach himself, but he doesn't really look up to his coach from a business standpoint, kind of just low key keeps to himself, and he's just out there looking on the market. And I think like that's such an awesome mindset to have. You have so many guys at the gym that just because they know how an exercise works, they think they know how to train an exercise. But the reality is 99% of people that go to the gym don't get help. They just go in and especially with guys, there's a lot of ego, right? I'm generalizing a lot here. Guys coming into the gym, there's ego. They don't want to seem like they're stupid. And so they just go and perform some exercises and just watch what other people are doing. And they let the ego, kind of take over. When I was doing the leg presses yesterday, I had two guys on the machine next to me. One guy comes up and is like, "Oh yeah, you should train legs and train a body part afterwards because all this testosterone." And this other guy was like, "Whoa, it actually goes over like to it." And I looked at them and they're just like really both out of shape, And in my mind, I'm just thinking, if you guys had just locked down the basics and the fundamentals, you get so much more progress. All this knowledge that you think you might have, you're just, learning from non-credible sources. And like, they were just almost like arguing with each other. And I was just sitting there. I'm like, well, neither of you are really right, to be honest. And I realized that is the general consensus at the gym. You come in, you might read a few articles online, you think you know it, and, you go out and you don't want to seem like you're dumb. And I think a lot of people train with the exercises incorrectly. And that's the sad truth. And sometimes people get injured. And, I had one of my clients, he says that he's got tendonitis in his knee and it comes and goes and he just needs to take rest off. And I'm like, well, that's actually the opposite of what you're supposed to do. When you get injured, you're supposed to train around that injury to strengthen it. Because if you don't, that joint decreases in its physical capacity, which makes it more likely for you to get injured. So there's so much incorrect information out there. People are learning off other people's bad habits. And I think the best coaches are the ones that are students that are just always open-minded, opening the ears, opening their mind to what's possible. I never used to be open-minded. I consider myself to be somewhat of a closed-minded person in some cases, but I'm also very open in other cases. I'm very closed-minded when it comes to driving, and I road rage. I get really frustrated with other people's lack of intelligence and consideration on the road. But with anything else, when I'm not directly involved in it, I have a time to kind of take a step back. I will consider myself to be quite open-minded. I like to challenge thoughts. I like to be curious and just assume, okay, maybe what if that is the case? And why would someone see from that point of view? And if you guys were to have that kind of mindset, I think you would be allowing yourself to learn a lot more than if you just maintain your own opinion. Just coming into any kind of program, coaching, mentorship, the fact that I've been through so many, I've had to exercise and learn how to have an open mind, to empty my cup, and I think when I look at the lens of someone that's never joined a coaching program before, and the first time that they do join, there's a lot of preconceptions, a lot of beliefs that they have that might have led them to being stuck. And we have to first allow them to break free from that belief, really just transition them from uncertainty to possibility. We're not saying that this is going to change your life, because as soon as you say that, people start to withdraw, they reject, and they say it's not going to work. But all we're doing is just be open to the idea that it could. So for example, doing this expert coach course, and it's really just a lead magnet course so he can sell us a program to do marketing, to find clients. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the information he provides is very valuable. And in one of the videos, he was showing a scenario where someone had a stutter of over 30 years, and he was having an interview with them, and they weren't able to structure a sentence together without stuttering. Then a few weeks later, he showed some videos of all the things that he's doing, and it looks pretty woo-woo, right? And a few weeks later, the guy's sitting there really relaxed, and he's speaking really fluently, and it shows like the next scene that he's in a movie now, or like a reality TV show, then a video testimonial saying that this guy's changed his life. My first reaction was like, this guy's an actor. Is it possible that he had acted the stutter? I mean, it could be if you choose to see it from that perspective and say, this coach is a scam. He hired an actor to pretend like he stuttered and to make this amazing transformation. Like, I could think that. And based on the information I have, I could connect those dots. And I can say this whole thing's a scam. He just wants us to pay him so he can join his program. But then I also see that there's photos of him having these seminars, and all his clients are there and all happy, and and I'm thinking like, well, that's kind of maybe what people see of me and my coaching and what we're able to provide and help other people. Like, no way, that's real. How can you just overcome this addiction? Maybe that's just his friends, and I realized like having that mindset, thinking that it doesn't work and my mind will find evidence to support it, I close myself up to the possibility that it could. And even if it's a 1% chance, why close myself off to that possibility? What do I have to prove, and what do I have to gain? And when I emptied that cup, and I just thought to myself, okay, what if this guy is the real deal? What if this guy did have the capability to help someone through a stutter? What a wasted opportunity it would be if I don't learn off this guy. So yeah, that was a big, revelation for me, and I kind of talked to Hang about it. And I love how when every time Hang joins these programs, she empties the cup completely, gets fully involved in it. And it's inspiring to see someone's ability to empty their cup. And I realized that that's why Hang is so successful, because whether it be learning from these people or learning from me a few years ago, Hang always emptied her cup, and that's why she is where she is. She's an amazing coach right now. She's awesome at training. She has a more impressive back than most guys at the gym, and she was able to do this because of her ability to kind of just empty her cup and kind of unlearn stuff that she had once learned and relearn it from someone else. And I think if you kind of have that mindset, you're really going to go really far. So yeah, just thought I'd share something that was very meaningful and valuable to me yesterday, which was I'm just kind of going through the process of just being a beginner again. I've had these books on my shelf for the last year, and I haven't really come back to look at it and read it. And I just figured I'd open up one day, now that I'm kind of rebuilding my offer from the ground up again. I'm just able to learn things from a complete different lens. So I think it was very meaningful. So yeah, I'm very excited. There's a lot for me to learn and get through over the next few months. I feel like it feels humbling to kind of like start from the ground up again. But yeah, thought I'd share that. I've got a comment here from someone saying, can you follow me back? So I'll give you my opinion, and I'll be honest with this. If someone's asking for me to follow them back, I'm not going to do it. right? You have to be able to provide some value into the world where people, like, why do you want people to follow you? It's a vanity metric. And do you want people to follow you just because you ask them? You want to be able to provide value into the world where people want to follow you. And don't ask for handouts. In life, do not ask for handouts. You need to earn it yourself. If you don't have the followers that you want for whatever reason, it just means you're not good enough. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's not good or bad. It just is. That's just the reality. I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough compared to where I want to be. That's just the truth. I need to get better. I need to learn. I want to face that reality. That's why, you don't buy followers and stuff, because none of that stuff matters. It's funny. I'll share this one last story before we wrap up. A few years ago, more than 2 and a bit years ago, Hang and I, we jumped into a call with a PR team. This public relations team said that they're going to take our personal brand to the next level. They'll put us on TV, on the news, and have this in articles. We're like, wow, that's really cool. We're getting caught up. We didn't know what that was. We're like, hey, that would be pretty cool. Getting exposed onto these news pages. And it's fucking expensive. And I asked them, can you quantify for me how much this would improve my brand? And they couldn't do that. They just kept going around in circles. And you know how much they try to charge Hang and I for a blue tick on Instagram and Facebook? $100,000 US for a blue tick. And I'm like, what is the purpose of that blue tick? And then they said, oh, it's for brand credibility and all this stuff. And I'm like, so it's a vanity metric. I don't want that. I don't care what people think. And they were showing me some of their clients. And I look at their clients. None of them were actually providing anything of real value. They were just these rich. They look like kids from rich families that just want to have this big following, and they want to have that tick for their ego, and it doesn't serve anyone anything. So that's just my 2 cents in it. Don't ask me to follow you, because I'm not going to follow you back. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. These are my lessons for today, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Peace.